Last time in the last episode, I yelled hello and welcome so loud that it was distorted. So I'm not going to do that this time.
Deep breath.
Hello. Nope. I just hit something.
That has to stay.
Hail them.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
Hailing frequencies open.
I don't know why I keep giving alien street food a chance. It's always such a gamble.
Captain, we're being hailed.
On screen.
Hello and welcome to another Hailing Frequencies Open podcast, where we trek through the past and future of Star Trek. I'm your host, Mike Jones, and joining me in the virtual studio, we have a full team today. Or almost full. Ben's not here, but we have Damien, Lanita, and Aaron. Say hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Guten Tagen.
I am all moisturized and ready to go.
Oh.
That's ominous.
It's very specific.
He's just mad. I said that he didn't use lotion last time. So he's
know.
making sure to let the listeners
there
know
we go.
that his hands are not dry and cracked, and neither are his knees.
I'm on lip gloss now to make sure my lips remain moist.
We just found out that Aaron has an inflatable unicorn costume, and I don't know why she's not wearing it right now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Next time. That's for the Patreon subscribers.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
There it
You have
is.
to put the microphone somehow inside of it.
I'll just yell really loud.
Right.
It'll be great.
One of these days, we're going to start the episode with just naming
Final
all of the
frontier.
Patreon. Yeah.
It's just so in today's episode, we're talking about crossovers. You know, it would have been fun if we'd collabed with another podcast and crossed over with them. I just now thought of that, but we didn't do that. And what inspired this topic is the Strange New Worlds episode, Those Old Scientists, or TOS, where Boimler and Mariner from Lower Decks go through a portal into the Strange New Worlds world.
Oh, is that how it works? Is that how it happens?
That
That's how it
Aaron has
happened.
not seen the episode.
Yes. And it's funny because she's laughing like she's on mute, but she's not on mute. She's just not making a sound.
Silently laughing. That's good podcasting right there.
Yeah, this is famously a visual medium.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So full disclosure, I have not seen this. I have not seen any of Strange New Worlds, and I'm trying to use this as an opportunity for y'all to convince me that I should use my precious junk TV hours on the show.
It's
So-
not
Oh,
junk
this is
TV.
the way.
so
This is the way in.
Here we go.
because here's the thing, it's not junk TV, it's good TV. Convincing you to watch junk TV is like going back and starting RuPaul's Drag Race season 1. But I'm not going to do that to you. Strange New Worlds, good TV.
Worth the investment.
Worth
Yeah.
the
All
investment.
right.
I watched the 3 last episodes. What day was that, Tammy? And I text you. I just watched 3 hours. I stacked them up, watched them. It's great.
Bang them out.
And
I
this
love
was the one. This is the one that that I'm gonna want to put on when I go to sleep to
Yep.
soothe me into all of the things
To
that I
watch
love.
again.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a
Mhm.
little dramatic. The
Yeah.
music is a little dramatic. I don't think I could sleep well to it.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, TNG is really what I'm gonna watch when it's when I need
Right.
to sleep. But
I put on Deep Space Nine.
All of that Berman era Trek, as long as even in the most dramatic moments, the music is you can sleep through it.
Oh
Yes.
gosh. Yeah, just
You
put
know?
on I sleep to white noise. Y'all sleep to Star Trek. I wouldn't be able to. I'd have weird dreams.
I
Well,
sleep
that
to white
happens
noise.
anyway.
I specifically sleep to not like it at night, but when I nap, I sleep to Star Trek white noise, like YouTube videos of the engine rumbling.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
'Cause-
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, it's a thing. I'll send you a link.
Yeah, because it's not on my app. It's not on my sleep time app that tracks the noise and tells me how good my sleep is during the
yeah.
evening. But I put on sleep time stories and they go, "Hello, tonight a sleep time story. Make sure you are
Hello.
not operating any machinery? Let's lay down. And I go, nestle in and listen to Snow
Wow.
White or Cinderella or Tales of Odin. Depends.
Also, you may have noticed that Lenita is no longer our war correspondent coming to us from the front.
I like being the war correspondent.
She's got a microphone now.
She's no longer like just frequent caller. On line one, we have Lenita.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yes, she's in the studio now. So this is like an amazing episode though, because it is essentially it's bookended. It's a Strange New Worlds episode bookended by Lower Decks, right? Because it starts
Right.
like if you didn't know what you were watching, you might, if you didn't know to anticipate it, you might think that you're watching the wrong show because you're turning it on and all of a sudden you're seeing animated.
Correct.
Right.
And it starts off like that. And they set up this whole portal, which is one of the more straightforward portals. It's just a portal in time.
Yeah.
You don't need to know a whole lot about it.
Nope.
It's a little Guardian of Forever without being Guardian of Forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And in true Lower Deck style, they set it up as though it's like kind of your boring run of the mill portal. Like no one's excited about it.
We've got to go study this thing.
Right.
Fine.
They have to check in on it every so often. And it's like, okay, fine.
We'll go do it.
Make sure that it's portaling right. And doesn't Boimler get sucked into the portal? The best part though is he gets sucked into the portal like feet first, right? And it's very much Beverly and Remember Me. And he's shouting, Remember me.
Oh, shut up. You're right. Oh my God. How did I miss that?
Yes. And then he comes like hurtling through on the other side of the portal in live action, the actual actor. And
That's what I was going to ask you. That's the actual actor, right?
they both are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Jack Quaid.
It's,
voices
I mean,
it.
it's just like dumb luck
Mhm.
that they happen to look like the actors who
But-
play them.
But did they do that? So did they cast actors and then sort of change
Design the characters.
Yeah, like they had like an idea of like, okay, dorky white guy, right? Like
I think they must
Mariner.
have.
I think so
Because
because
they-
they're promoting those actors as the, they give them like the title sequence more in a way that you wouldn't give a voice actor typically.
Yeah.
They're giving them full Star Trek billing. So I think
Gotcha.
that like there's got to be some like purpose there. Yeah.
because I looked at his face, I was like, oh, is that like my brain like flipped a little bit? I was like, wait, you look exactly like but the voice sounds it was great.
Right.
It
Even
is-
gave him like a
it's
little
so-
purplish, sort of bluish hair.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
cool. When
And
you
it-
guys said that there was a crossover, I really thought it was going to be like a la Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like, I'm like, I wonder how they're going to make this not be terrible.
That's kind of what I was
whoa.
expecting.
Yeah, I think
Are
that
we
was everyone's.
saying that
No, Who
Framed
Framed Roger
Roger-
Rabbit
Oh.
is a cinematic masterpiece.
Okay,
I
just
don't know
okay.
how that universe translates to Star Trek.
Got you. Where I was like, that
Right.
is one of the greatest movies ever made.
Hands down. Hands down.
Oh my
Are you kidding me? Jessica Rabbit is when I knew that I was gay.
god. What?
Like, that's nothing. That's nothing.
You're like,
Yeah, nothing.
I don't get
I
what
got
it's
nothing
all
happening.
about.
Okay, she's drawn badly. Okay, great.
I speaking of getting back to a little Boimler. I can't look at
Mike is
Jack
focusing
Quaid
us.
without seeing his parents because
Oh, yeah.
his mother is what's her name?
Meg Ryan.
Right.
Meg Ryan, and I feel like he has
Ooh.
Meg Ryan's smile, and
Yeah.
his father is
Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid, yeah.
Is that why his face looks so familiar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I think you might have seen him in The Boys, if
Yes.
you've ever watched The Boys on Amazon Prime, in which he is excellent.
Yeah, it's a good show.
I have not. I
Oh, you
have
should
not.
watch it a lot.
And here's
You
the
like
thing: he's got Meg Ryan's old face, not her new face.
The
That's
original,
true.
the OG.
We've got to go back to You've Got Mail face,
Right.
Sleepless in Seattle face.
You've
Yes.
got
Bill
mail.
versus the volcano face.
Oh, such a good movie. They did 3 together. Wow.
Yeah.
I did a
She was
few.
a Flibberty Gibbet in that movie.
She was. Well, one of her was.
One of them. Yeah, she played 3 parts.
Well,
It was
Liberty Gibbet.
That's a fun name.
such a good movie.
We're here. Welcome to the Joe versus the
So-
Volcano podcast.
Yes. Hard left turn. Bait and switch.
So of course, as we expect, he's a terrible time traveler. He shouldn't be revealing anything of the future, but he can't help it.
Can't help it.
And comedy ensues. But it kind of reminded me of that TNG episode, which I should have looked up the name of, where the con artist travels, like he convinces them that he's from the future, but actually he
matter
just
of time.
stole a matter of time. He just stole a time machine. He's actually from the past, and his plan is to steal things and take them to the past and make money off of them.
Mhm.
But the fact that what he does intentionally, Boimler does accidentally, where he gives little nuggets of like, oh, well, that's like, I want to remember where you were sitting, blah, 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 like in this moment. And Boimler's like, do you want to celebrate Captain Pike's birthday? And they're like, how do you know it's his birthday? Well, it's
A
it's
holiday
a
in our
holiday.
time.
Right? And it's like, oh,
Where
wait.
I'm from. Oh, ooh. But I love
Oh.
the fact that he didn't barely like jumping ahead where he was like, yeah, I know what happens to me. We're
Yes.
good. You're not spoiling anything. And the fact that they didn't know that he knew, and then when they found out, it was like,
Oh yeah, no, it's
Right.
good. It's good. And also, and Mariner, she like hand signs the shape of the chair.
The chair.
here.
At least they didn't go beep,
Yeah,
Oh.
it is.
Yeah, I know.
They are golden. I mean, and the thing is that they really are sort of like the avatar for the fan. Because
Absolutely.
they're behaving in exactly the same ways that we would if we sort of magically got put there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So excited to meet these people because they're like celebrities. And he even knows Mabinga, the doctor, who like we actually don't know that much about. Everyone else we know has this like future, because they're characters that have been written for 60 years almost.
Yeah, they didn't get kicked off. What's interesting is when he was like, what's the star date? He was like, oh, 4 numbers. Oh yeah, that's perfectly normal. Like
Right.
versus this time where it's
Yeah.
like 7. Like, oh, four numbers. Right, great.
They're like, we
saw-
know you've time traveled.
Yeah, I saw a thing on Facebook where they had posted something about Strange New Worlds where it was like the fact that NBC didn't want the pilot, and so Mbenga, someone else got written out. Like they had to get rid of Pike, Mbenga, and someone else.
Oh.
Number
And
one.
number one, thank you.
Oh.
And so, and then to now have Strange New Worlds, where all of these original characters that he created are living their
Mm.
best life, right? Like, so for him, it was a failure that he couldn't get the cast that he wanted, the
Roddenberry.
characters that he wanted, correct,
Mhm.
in the original, and they had to get the boot. And now it's like, guess what? They weren't a failure. They're back.
Right,
We
they're
love
back.
them, and they're living their best life.
Back and better than ever.
Absolutely. When's he gonna get his another episode, Mbenga? Like I know we got a little bit. I feel like okay, that's
I think
not part of this.
it's coming up. I think it's coming up.
I think it's going to be, there's an episode coming up about the Klingon War, right? So surely he'll have something in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
He
Um,
and the other one.
Ortegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Ortegas who's connected to the Klingon War? Why does
Oh,
Mbenga and
but Nurse Chapel also.
thank you. They're little pill popping.
Yeah. Their pill popping moment.
Yeah, they have like a superhero serum that turns them
Right.
into like fighting machines, and they
Like
just
beyond.
and we watch them. They just kind of take it and they kick ass, and then there's no explanation, so it kind of is lingering out there. And like, somebody better like explain this shit, because
At some point,
what
please.
is that? Yeah, so
I
that
feel
is like
they're
a
Witchers.
what's that?
I feel like they're Witchers from
Oh.
Netflix. Like how
Yeah,
when
yeah.
the Witcher's ready to fight the whatever monster it is, they take the thing, their eyes turn black, and like they go
Oh.
slightly ghost, and then
Yeah.
they destroy.
I almost think that it was a roundabout way, because the actor who plays Mabinga, whose name I never heard out loud, and I don't know how to
Babs.
pronounce it. Babs, but I don't know how
Babs.
to
We
pronounce
don't know
his last name.
We don't know.
Is like this amazing stage combat like fighter
He's
guy.
the world jujitsu champion.
Yeah, so it's like
Stop
they
it.
wanted
Yeah,
to use
and they
those
cast
skills
him
in the show.
without. He was like already in the part in season 1, and they just happened to find that out. Like they didn't.
Oh,
know.
that's amazing.
They finally put his special skills section on his resume, and they were like,
Yes.
wait.
Yeah. So all of a sudden in
Everyone
season
makes up their
2,
skills.
he's like doing all this like combat stuff.
Yeah, he's
That's
pretty
good.
amazing.
That really makes sense now that it doesn't look like someone who's like been taught to do it. It
Mhm.
really looks well, because it is innate and natural for
It
him.
is.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
Oh,
So they
he's
take a
so
magic
phenomenal.
serum to get super strong.
Yes, we
Yes.
see them do that in like one
Yes.
episode, and it's clearly a thing between them that is like some sort of shared secret between the doctor and the nurse.
They
And-
used it to get through the war somehow.
Mhm.
Right.
Got it.
I feel like this podcast is going to age like cheese because
Probably.
it's going to be explained very soon. I feel like, but yeah,
Too bad, so sad.
Um,
We didn't know now.
we didn't know.
Hmm.
We didn't
This
know.
is just a moment
that-
in time.
But that doesn't happen in this episode. So
Yeah. Mike, keeping us
I feel
focused.
like now
Back
we're
on track.
confusing Aaron. She's like,
Are
wait,
there other like
so-
casual drugs that are done? Because you mentioned they're
No.
like pill poppers. Like I thought they were just like
Well, yes, there's the Orion booze that they
Oh,
all
that's
take at
true.
the end when they turn into cartoon characters.
that's
Correct.
true. Yeah, in the end.
everyone does.
Yes.
Yep.
What?
Yeah,
Yep.
so we like as like a sort of like coda on the episode, they return to the Strange New Worlds universe, and
Like
they're
Pike?
all
Yes.
the Pike,
All
unit,
of
the
them.
Captain Pike, and they're all cartoons.
Yep. and they're
Cartoon
drinking
Pike
the-
looked older than real Pike. Am I wrong?
Yes. No.
Well,
no,
well,
not at all.
no, because Anson Mount is just so ridiculously handsome that like there's no way that you could like express that sort of face and
Structure.
jawline.
Not captured.
Yeah,
In the lower decks,
right. Because you just see
Rick and
silver
Morty
hair.
style.
Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, it's just silver hair. So I don't know. He looks older.
he looks older.
Everyone else looked really great though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So explaining the episode to Aaron.
I feel like I
so
really have a handle on what happens now. Thanks, guys.
they think they figure out how to send Boimler back.
Yes.
And they go to the portal again and they activate it, but Mariner comes through instead. So now Mariner and Boimler are stuck there. And they don't have any more of the
Deuterium.
the heronium.
the
Hero-
heronium because it's
I was
about
close.
The
heroes.
made up thing that they don't have.
Right. The my favorite made up thing is from the Avatar movies because it's they're all looking for unobtainium. Is unobtainium hard to obtain? Anyway. So so then like again we get to see them interact with each other, which is hilarious because on lower decks they talk so fast and they're like ba-da-ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba.
And they actually talk like that
Right.
with each other. Like I'm thinking, oh, so they're really doing these scenes together. Like it,
Yeah.
voice acting sometimes like you're just alone in a room and you're reading the script. I feel like the reason that it works so well in lower decks is because I feel like they're truly in a collective having this dialogue happen because it is.
I hope
Those
so.
actors
reminds
know each
me-
other.
It reminds me a la Gilmore Girls, Rory and Lorelai Gilmore. The way that
Yes.
they
Well, and I love the way that they say, "Do you notice how slow everyone talks here?"
I know.
Right? And then
they
number
all
one turns to
whisper.
Spock at a certain point, and he's like, and she's like, "Have you noticed how specific all their references are?" But it makes you realize how incredibly dense Lower Decks is because
Yeah.
everything. Because first of all, it's a half hour, so everything has to be like efficient to like move the story along. But it's
Mhm.
also like packed with all of these references, and the comedy is so fast. It was just really great to see all of our Strange New Worlds characters sort of blend with that kind of comedy because everyone did it so well. I don't think there's anyone who fell short.
It's
Mm-mm.
like, looking at a diamond against a velvet background, it like makes it brighter. Like the contrast of the comedy against Strange New Worlds made it even like more charming, I thought. Even though the whole episode was really a comedy. I mean, they really enjoyed the fact that Spock is acting weird, because for a couple episodes he's been dealing with human emotions in a different way, yada yada. But he does some really creepy smiles.
Yes. Yes.
It's like he doesn't engage his eyes; it's just his mouth.
He's got
Mhm.
10 eyes.
Yeah, he's like it's like a psychopath. He's like,
Yes.
you're about to murder someone. Like the way that like a serial killer would smile, like when they found the person,
Mhm.
you're like,
And it like freaks out Boimler, but Boimler's still like in love with him, you know. I heard the actors call them Spoimler, Spock Boimler.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, and you know, the thing that I love about Boimler that I realized that all of our, like, I shouldn't say, but all of them, many iterations of Star Trek have that character who is afraid, right? You
Mm.
watch Voyager, there's Harry Kim. Harry Kim shows fear in his eyes, like all the weird shit happens to him, and he's still afraid. And that sort of fear, because there's all these characters on Star Trek who are kind of fearless, but I think the ones that are truly brave are the ones that are afraid, right?
Like Barclay,
Barclay is terrified, right?
right?
And Boimler lets out that freaking shriek when the thing explodes that is so funny and
his
is like,
scream is so good.
and you just love him. You're I don't know. I think
he
he's,
tries so hard.
he is his own kind of hero, and Mariner just the same. And to me, Tawny Newsome Mariner was the star of that, because she was just so good and so funny the entire time. Like, she shows up out of the portal and she's like, "Wait, is Uhura here?" She's like, "Okay, you guys
Exactly.
are great, but no,
Immediately.
seriously, is she here? Is she here?"
Because that's what I'm here for.
Oh my God.
She's such a badass. She's like totally like just at ease. You know, it
'Cause
takes
she's
her a
like,
second to be like, oh, I time traveled. Okay, who are these people? And then boom, like,
yes,
does that mean Uhura's here? Like, and then she gets this wonderful moment where or this whole scene where she helps develop Uhura's character. Because as we know, Uhura moves on to enjoy singing, and we see her in her off time a lot in the original series. Probably because they just didn't know how to write women unless they were doing something like singing, but still.
Or being seduced or dancing
Right.
to very seductive music in
Right.
sheets.
In sheets or green makeup or with fans, whatever.
Mhm.
But the Uhura in Strange New Worlds, who is younger, she's a cadet in the first season, is like all business, like super serious, all business. And we know what her future is going to hold, and so does Mariner. So she like helps her along with that. I think we have Mariner to thank for the Uhura that we know and love.
Well, do we have them to thank for the Spock we know and love? Because
Yeah.
does Nurse Chapel overhear? No, he says it to her, like in our time, he's not so smiley. Like,
yeah. He's afraid he's
it-
broken Spock. He's like, I think me coming here has given Spock emotions. And she's like, no.
She's like, nope, that's me. And then that whole,
Because
does that change it? Yeah. Does that change that trajectory?
Yeah.
that was like a heartbreaking scene though, because he's totally just like carelessly breaks her heart. Because
Yeah.
he's just
Uh-huh.
like,
No
he's
idea.
afraid that
It's just-
he's the one who's responsible for the change in Spock. And then she has to sort of learn casually through him that all of the impact that she feels like she's having on him,
The
is
look on
really
her face,
short-lived,
she
and that
sells it. Oh, sorry.
it's great. It's great. I feel like this is everything a crossover should be though, because it is both shows. It features both shows at their best.
Yeah.
So I feel like,
Absolutely.
Aaron, I feel like you could watch this episode cold, right? Like, I don't think there's anything about it that you would have to know going in. There's all these things that you could like experience more richly from having seen it all. But like, you should be able to watch it and like get everything from this episode. And then if you love it and you love the characters, go back and start it and watch it if it speaks to you, because it is
It's kind of a perfect little capsule episode that can be
Yeah.
just plucked out of the series and be like, hey, watch this.
Mhm.
And I think it would drive you to watch both of them.
Yes.
Like, I think that it
Oh, yeah.
equally
Oh,
would be
yeah, absolutely.
like, hey, Lower Decks, I want to learn more about these folks. And then Strange New Worlds, yep, I'm jumping in. I think
Yeah.
it's a twofer.
Yeah, I had watched, I'm not caught up on Lower Decks. I think I missed the most recent season, but I did enjoy that very much. I just never hopped over from Discovery to Strange New Worlds.
Mm.
So I think this is a great opportunity to get some exposure to that.
I think it is too, because I feel like all of these episodes, I think what they're doing is really interesting because with continuity, because a lot of like TOS and a lot of Next Generation, even like something crazy will happen, like City on the Edge of Forever, like Kirk has this crazy love affair with Edith Keeler. She dies, it breaks his heart. And then the next episode you come back and there's no sign that this ever happened.
Yeah.
But this has that same episodic nature, but it's not like a reset button every time. Like the characters are impacted by the things that have happened,
Yeah.
but it's not necessarily about that. It just sort of like lives in the background and like gives colors and shade to it, but that
And
you can
character
watch
growth.
and character growth.
Yeah.
But
it's a
theoretically,
nuance.
you can watch it all out of order and still enjoy each episode.
That's great.
I think that's right. Yeah, I mean, it was a different era of television, but yeah, TOS. There's the episode where the Changeling, where the Nomad robot completely wipes Uhura's memory, and then she's fine the next episode. So, you know, there's a willing suspension of disbelief, as we say, when you watch some of those. Yeah, so this was, I think, a very successful crossover. Have there been other Star Trek crossovers that were less successful?
I was actually thinking of there's a Next Generation episode where we get Dr. Bashir from Deep Space Nine.
Oh yeah.
That was like an early ploy. It's the episode where Data dreams, right? Isn't that the same, right? And he really brings nothing to it. And it was I'm gonna say this was an unsuccessful crossover.
Uh-huh.
He brings nothing
Because
to it.
I
he
had
really
forgotten
doesn't.
about
He
it.
really doesn't. Because it was in that like the early DS9 where Bashir is just sort of like a doofus, and all
Right.
of the like stories that he gets are from other characters around him.
Yeah.
I mean, I said this before. I think he's one of my favorite characters on Star Trek because he sort of like grows into something that he wasn't at the beginning. But like you're getting like the most doofusy Dr. Bashir with Geordi and Data. And I think what they were doing is I think they were trying to capitalize on the fact that like we've got this like very hot young doctor. He's so handsome, right? Like
Was he?
heartthrob. I mean, I think
Is he?
people thought so.
I had a little crush in him.
You're also gay.
Well, that's true. He's still a very attractive man.
You
Well,
know, he was too. He's like he looked breakable. Like he was so
Oh, yeah.
tiny.
Yeah.
Like he didn't have any body.
He's a bit twinkish.
Yes, but
There you go.
not young enough in the face to really be.
Harsh.
Damien knows I've seen enough at the boys' room to actually be correct in this description of he's not young enough in the face to be really considered twinkish because they were all there in the early aughts
in the
we were
early
going.
in the early aughts
Early
when Lanita got called out for being a fag hag.
Which
and then-
is
and-
so
and then-
untrue.
So untrue.
Was the
And then
most
it turned
untrue
really-
thing ever.
And then it turned really ugly from there.
Really quickly. I was
Yes.
like, I am a full-fledged queer. What is wrong with you? But you know, it was fine. We went back the next week. It was great.
That's funny.
Dr. Bashir did not pass the twink test. No.
No, he would not have won Boy Idol.
The unsuccessful crossover I was thinking of is Star Trek Generations.
Yes.
I don't think that it is a good send-off for the original, series cast, especially because they wanted Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, but Leonard Nimoy turned it down. And D. Kelly was too sick. So they got
They
Kirk,
couldn't get insurance
Scotty,
to
and-
cover him.
right. Yeah. They wouldn't insure him because, well, I think that, yeah.
Because they thought he was gonna croak whilst
Because he
filming.
wasn't in good health, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. He was in poor health. So I think that they thought that he was going to jump on the insurance and then just like have major surgery or something. You know what I mean? Like the insurance wouldn't cover him.
Oh,
Whatever.
God.
And what
Rough.
did
Wasn't there a crossover? Wasn't there an episode of TNG where he briefly appeared in it as Bones?
Yes. The
Yes.
pilot episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that was the pilot?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus, my brain is scrambled. I did like the crossover with Scotty when they
Yes.
found him
Oh.
trapped in the, like, that was kind of
Relics.
heartbreaking.
Such a great episode.
And he's just such a warm, like, likable person, and just
Yeah.
his energy, that seeing him like sort of be trapped and be separated from his world like that,
Right.
just
He felt
Like-
useless, you know,
Yeah.
like, yeah, really, really great episode.
I enjoyed that one.
I love the holodeck scene where he recreates the Enterprise bridge,
Mhm.
you know, and like, yeah, that's really great Star Trek, really great.
Well, and there was a great sort of like that the only person that could really help him in that predicament was Geordi, was to like put his engineering knowledge to use and make him useful
Yeah,
in
Mhm.
that, you know, that was the only way to sort of save him, was to like give him the opportunity to sort of be a hero.
yeah. And Geordi's kind of annoyed by him to begin with, like, you know,
Mhm.
like, oh, like, look, old man, you know, you're in the way here.
Gosh.
Yeah, but of course there's a journey and they come around. So good. Other crossovers, so some of those are just one character going from one show into the other, but of course Deep Space Nine bridges with TNG and Voyager with the pilots, you know, starting with the Enterprise being docked at Deep Space Nine, and then
Mhm.
Voyager being docked at Deep Space Nine conveniently, which I thought that was kind of nice, that gave it a continuity.
Yeah, I think that was like a pilot thing, that, you know, a first episode way to establish that, you know, our worlds are connected. And actually, you know what episode I randomly watched recently was Loxana Troy appearing on Deep Space Nine with Odo.
Oh yeah.
Oh, her
And it's
love for Odo.
It's kind of good. They get stuck in an elevator together. Like, it was better than I remembered it, because she
But
kind
I
of like
her.
yes, because she kind of has to like drop her craziness and kind of be real and connect
And be vulnerable.
Yeah,
Doesn't she take off her wig or something?
takes off her
Right?
wig. Yeah,
Yeah. So convinces him that he can,
Be goo.
yeah, revert to goo because he has to every
Mhm.
so often.
Every day, isn't it?
Every day,
Or else
yeah.
he's gotta go into his bucket.
This special bucket.
That's bucket.
She's such an interesting character.
Oh, he's so weird. I don't like I don't like their faces. I don't like that their ears don't have all the crevices. I don't. Odo was we
The
can't get it. We're
changelings?
talking. Oh, the changelings. They are some of the weirdest looking aliens that were.
here's where
ever
we get
created.
into Lenita disliking aliens because they're ugly.
No, it's not that they're ugly. What are the ones? Okay, what are the fighting ones? The ones that all they do is fight.
The Jim Hadar.
The Jem'Hadar.
I was like,
They're-
Klingons?
No, Klingons are
Klingons, yeah.
stunning. I love their little
Yeah.
ridges. No, Jem'Hadar were like not very attractive and they breathe in the thing, and it was, but no, like I like them. They had a single purpose: destroy. Odo and his people. Pick a different form.
They do look a bit
Mm-mm.
like crash test dummies
Yes,
or
and very
CPR
beige.
dolls.
And the fact that they refuse to give them actual colored uniforms to like perk them up a bit, they just walk around sort of looking like the inside of a banana. Like I'm not
Beige on beige.
Inside
beige
of
on
a
beige on
banana.
beige, beige on beige on beige. No, I you know what's interesting when you say the crossover, like the pilot episode of Deep Space Nine. Like, yes, it anchors it in the world, but it also sets it apart from every other series. Like, it's not on a spaceship going places. People are coming to us where things are going to happen, which I always felt was very interesting and why it made Deep Space Nine so cool, where it's like, oh, how many different people can come docking through, walking on the promenade, going to see Quark. What was the name of that weird one who sat at the bar the whole time?
Morn.
Morn.
It's an anagram for Norm from Cheers.
From Cheers.
When he would walk in, would everyone go, "Hi, Morn"?
Yep.
And Morn never
Okay.
spoke, right? Am I?
Ever.
Yeah.
No, he
think
just
so.
no, I think he may have grunted once or twice, but never a actual word
Well,
crossed his lips.
I wonder if that prosthetic like allowed you to move your mouth in order to speak.
Probably
Because he
not.
had like a big like it was like a Muppet mouth.
Mm-hmm. Good character.
Good character. Yeah, there could be a Morn crossover. Like what's Morn doing now?
I'll tell you another crossover that I did not necessarily appreciate was Q on Deep Space Nine.
Oh, he didn't
It
work
didn't
on
make
Deep
sense.
Space Nine.
Didn't
It
make
didn't-
sense.
He's a real villain, you know.
Q?
Mm-hmm.
We have to have a whole Q episode.
Mm-hmm. I'll leave it for there. Let's cue it up.
Stay tuned. I didn't love Q on Voyager, actually.
Oh, interesting.
And I mean, he had great chemistry with Janeway. The actors are good friends. The Q and the Gray is a great episode, but it just bothered me so much that he didn't send them home. And like, I mean, why would he, I guess? But it just frustrated me that this omnipotent character could snap his
Mhm.
fingers and fix the problem and send Voyager home, but he doesn't for no good reason. And she doesn't really ask more than once. I don't know.
Do you feel like some of these crossovers, by the way, venture into that? It's now like this like boogeyman buzzword now, but fan service.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, fan service that failed the final episode of Enterprise.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They brought in Riker and Troy as this weird crossover, and basically made it all a holodeck program, the whole episode. And yeah, it was not a good send-off for that series. It might have been an interesting episode, but it wasn't a good series finale.
I've actually
Maybe
never
the
watched
writers
it.
got him.
You've never watched it?
No, he
No,
has not
I've not watched Enterprise
Much
really.
Enterprise.
at all. He hasn't watched it at all.
It's good.
It's not. It's good. It really
Yeah.
is. It's a different world, but it's like the same world. It's good. You should watch it, Damien.
I feel like I need like a watch list to go through it. To like
It's,
It's 4
season 1,
seasons.
episode. What are you doing? You have nothing to do. Watch
You're
it.
homesick.
off.
I've caused a coughing fit. Look, the whole camera
the-
shakes.
Oh no.
The whole camera shakes. She made me laugh so hard, so I had a coughing fit.
I mean, literally, what's that? 40 episodes. That's 40 hours. Okay, 2 hours a day. You're good with that. For the time Colby's in a show,
out.
you can.
Oh
you
my
can, you
god.
Wait, how
That's
long do you
true.
think he spends in the shower? You think he spends
Show.
2 hours a day?
Oh,
The
oh no, no,
shower,
oh,
the show.
Oh,
the
the
show.
show. I thought you said he was in the shower. I'm like, what are
Oh
you
my god. My boyfriend takes showers. They're endless. It's very
Gotta-
hygienic.
He's got a lot of hair.
very
Got a
His
lot of
head
hair.
that he's got a whole process.
We're like Siegfried and Roy over here.
It's the coldest room in the house.
Oh my god.
You should watch it. It's truly. I think you're against it just because you didn't like the Quantum Leaper.
No, I'm not
Do
actually
you not like
against it.
Scott Bakula?
No, I do like. I mean, no, I like Scott Bakula.
I just make things up, Mike Jones.
Putting a
Haven't you
thing,
put-
credibility here is
Just
through the
causing
basement.
controversy.
Yes.
Oh, so good.
Just No, I watched it when it came out, and I kind of just like fell off it, and I've had trouble getting back on. So I just need like a jumping back in point, probably to.
Season 1,
Yeah, Broken
episode
Bow.
1, jumping in. What do we? Let's go. Listen, I'll watch it again with you. Come on.
Okay, all right.
Here's my Enterprise story. It's not really an Enterprise story, but I don't know if they still do this, but they used to do these things in New York called the Broadway Flea Market. It's a
Yes.
fundraiser for Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. And it's just a big flea market where people can donate things to be sold. And Scott Bakula was in something on Broadway, some play, because he's done a lot of theater. And he had donated this box of Star Trek Enterprise stuff. There were action figures of him still in the box, like of his character that clearly they gave him,
Right.
because, and the thing that I bought was this ball cap with a patch on the front of the show, like the show patch, but it's not like a costume. It's like clearly from like, an opening night party or like a,
Right.
a
Mm.
season
Like swag.
giveaway or something. Yeah, it's swag. It's totally swag. But like it's like actual, Captain Archer swag.
That no one has because they didn't sell it because it was just given to the cast.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Prized possession. Broadway flea market. You never know what you're gonna find.
But I don't think they do it. Well, I mean, after the Covina, I don't think they do that anymore. And even
Has it
before
started
then,
back?
It had gotten smaller and smaller, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that's why
That's
they just
sad.
brought out, that's why they just brought out the bucket. They bring out the buckets during the fundraising time and,
Right.
do the whole give us what you can.
Right. Well,
You
and
can donate
nowadays
for
they have like a QR code where you can scan and donate, right? Like they make it
Like
super
if you're
easy.
Mhm.
Or like a touch and donate anyway, whatever.
Yes, a tap. You can just
Back
tap
in
your
my
card.
day. We
Back in the
had
olden
metal
days.
buckets.
You had to put your coins in.
Clink, clink. Okay, so if you had a magic ball and could not a magic ball, if you had a magic wand, and could make any crossover happen, what would you want to see? And the magic extends to not just the shows that are currently on.
I've got two.
Okay.
And they're the most obvious. One is Janeway, which
Where's she going?
I feel like I don't know, but she's coming into Star Trek Legacy. She's
Oh,
coming
she
into
would
the
be-
new
oh,
show with 7 of 9.
with 7 of 9. Obviously.
I think that's like obvious. I feel like that is like just like low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
But the one that I don't think will happen is Cisco. I want to see Cisco come back in some other form of Star Trek somewhere. That
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
Avery's going to come back. I think he's going to leave well enough alone.
Right. In there's a crossover comic book that I don't exactly understand the premise, but it's characters from all different timelines and all different series coming together through some MacGuffin.
Portal? Is it a portal?
It could be a portal. I think that they're like different versions of the characters or something. I don't know. But anyway, he has a big role in that. The crossover that we didn't mention was Trials and Tribulations. Deep Space Nine crossover with the original series using, reusing footage. That's probably my favorite Star Trek crossover.
Yeah, that is probably that's a really good homage. Well, and then the other one that they did in the same, because I think those were to celebrate the 50th anniversary, right?
30th?
Oh,
Definitely not 50th. 50th was just like 6 years ago.
Okay, right. Thank you. How old am I?
Old.
No, the
Flashback, the Voyager episode
with Sulu and Tuvok.
Yes.
Sulu is the captain of the Excelsior, and Tuvok is an officer on his ship. Now I want to go back and rewatch that one because I don't remember the details.
Oh, I want to rewatch all the crossovers.
Mhm.
I would love to see a Lower Decks Prodigy crossover, even though Prodigy is now
Gone.
Well, we're gonna get to see season 2 somehow, somewhere.
Probably on
Um,
Tubi.
Probably.
Damien, where would you put Cisco? Where do you want him to go?
That's the thing. I don't know. And that's probably a part of the other reason why it won't happen, because he is I mean, it's just part of the reason that we didn't get a Cisco or a Janeway in the Picard show, because these other characters are too major
They're too
and
big.
they're too big to be a guest spot on someone else's show. And there's too much story to tell about where Cisco has been and why he's returning, and there's too much left unresolved with his his right. Cassidy Yates was did she have the baby? She had a son, or she was pregnant with a son? Like he's got a son and a widow, and Jake Sisko is more than an adult by this point, and
Right.
Yeah, with his
so
own
there's
kids,
just
kids.
right. It would literally have to be its own show.
Yeah. I would watch that show.
Yes.
Mhm.
Do you think there could be a way to, I mean, he's so much older now, so like I feel like it would have to be animated. It would have to be an animated crossover entrance, like into like a Lower Deck sort of situation, because if you would want a younger him, that's the only way that you could get a quote unquote younger him, was to go into
without recasting. Like
because
they did
I don't
with
want that. I
Guinan.
want that worked though. That had to happen.
Oh, she was great.
Great.
Well, yeah, but the Star Trek has gotten pretty good at explaining away why actors have aged so much when their characters aren't supposed to.
Like Data.
Whoopi Goldberg. Sometimes we choose to age with our friends. Okay.
Okay, sure you do.
Sure.
Well, what's her face? Our new engineer on
Strange New Worlds. Yes.
This is missing information. Aaron, Carol Kane is on Strange New Worlds now.
Yes.
Get to it, girlie.
As a thousands-of-year-old alien who is randomly friends with Spock's mom.
Correct.
And is the chief engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, I remember when Pythagoras invented math. I didn't think much of it.
Correct. Oh, she's comedy gold. Like comedy gold.
So she just joined this season?
Just joined this season.
She's been in like 4 episodes.
Oh, this is a delight.
She is a delight.
I'll watch her in anything.
She is
so good. I like when I'll be like, so how did you come up with this character? Like, where did the voice come from? What, like,
she's doing this like accent thing.
One of the things I love about the newer Star Treks is I feel like they put these very gifted comedic actors. Like I'm thinking Tig Notaro. Like,
oh my God.
Absolutely. Like all she has to do is open her mouth and I am on the floor. She cannot even say anything and she steals the scene. Like
I'm obsessed with her and with that character. Yes.
Yeah.
So
but
deadpan.
I love that we're working these into these casts because realistically, when you're in a situation like because this is ultimately a workplace show. It's an adventure show, but like it's a workplace.
They're at their jobs.
They're doing their jobs. They just happen to also live where they work. But like you're gonna have the sarcastic, ridiculous comedian. You're gonna have the downer. You're gonna have the person who's the relentless optimist. I feel like we didn't have the comedy piece before, where it was like, like looking at and again, like TNG is really my sweet spot up until the more recent stuff. The other stuff, it was very cursory. I didn't get too into it. But like you didn't really have the comedian, not the way they're leaning into it now. So I love that. I enjoy that.
They never really let Whoopi Goldberg be funny, and she's a hilarious human being.
Dead serious. Well, no, she was too busy being what's the trope? The wise old, like the sage, like it's the sage like magic person. She was underutilized. I mean, she was amazing in everything. I loved everything she did because she's Whoopi Goldberg, and she was just like having so much fun being there that it made every scene great. But like she was underused. Can you imagine just her and Patrick Stewart having a conversation, just an improv conversation? I would pay so much money to see that.
So there's an
I feel
episode.
like that's
There's an episode that I would encourage you to just find the scene to watch it, because it's not a good episode otherwise. Where Wesley Crusher is season 2. Wesley Crusher is in love with like the visiting teenage ruler of a planet, and he goes,
who's actually not a beautiful human, but is something else entirely.
Right.
Fan.
And there's a 10 forward scene where she and Riker, where Guinan and Riker teach him how to flirt.
Yeah,
and it is like a rare comic gold.
And Jonathan Frakes just like leaning into it, and I'm like, oh my God, you're gonna get it with Whoopi.
Tell me more about
shut up, kids.
Yes.
But I think that's what they did great in the younger Guinan role, right?
Yeah.
Like they're and like I've said, these new series are giving us round characters, 360 degrees grounded. There's a past, there's a future. You can see what their future is, what their goals are, and they're telling us about them and why they are the way they are. And we didn't get that. Like, TNG, great. I mean, great. But we didn't get full spectrum characters until Picard. Like we learned about them even more in this new series. It was wild.
It's a richer form of storytelling now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and they're allowed to have conflict, and they're allowed to have internal conflict inside of themselves, and conflict with their friends and colleagues.
Right.
Correct.
And they're allowed to improv. That's the one thing, out of what Aaron had said that really jumped out at me. That only if we had seen Patrick Stewart and Whoopi Goldberg have an improv scene together, like back in that era, they had to be like word perfect. They were very specific with the scripts for whatever reason. And now, I mean, Tawny Newsome and Jack Quaid get to go in and just kind of riff, in the recording.
Is there like a sort of framework like they do when there was no?
Oh,
what was that?
Yeah,
what was
absolutely.
That show where like there truly weren't any words. It was Curb Your Enthusiasm, where like truly
is
there
that
was just
true?
like, yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
listened
the
to
script was like, here's the scenario. Go.
Yeah, go. JB Smooth was on Kevin Hart's podcast, Comedy Goldmines, which is hilarious. And he was talking about like him on Curb Your Enthusiasm. We're like, no, there were no words. It was called, you're going to his house and good luck. And all of that. And they just, all of that was off the cuff.
That's amazing. I think a lot of
But you have to
Reno
be really-
911 was improv.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
I don't think Star Trek will ever be like that, but I feel like there's like room to let the actors play that I think. In this latest crossover, there's a scene where Boimler sort of gets up onto Pike's saddle,
Riker.
and he does the one leg from behind. He does the Riker, and he goes,
But
Riker.
he says Riker.
And it was totally improv. Totally improv. And Jonathan Frakes was
Amazing.
directing the scene. So he literally was like, Riker's literally right there. I can't not do
Right.
it.
You cannot
Riker,
say
not
this.
do it.
Riker.
No, I saw that little clip with Wesley has his own podcast, and he was like, him sitting on that chair is totally improv, and then Wesley doing it is because he wanted to be like Riker, so that's why he sat that way in every chair that he was ever sitting in. I'm like, okay.
Way to make it about yourself, Will Wheaton.
Oh, well.
Exactly.
I can't, because I actually love.
You do.
I would totally want to hang out. Will Wheaton, if you're listening,
Totally.
like call me, like come over, we'll hang out.
He was like my first love.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
sort of a tight. No. Truly. I was in bad shape. Will Wheaton, Jonathan. What was his name? Jonathan
Taylor Thomas.
Brandis. Jonathan Brandis.
Brandeis.
Oh,
They
Brandeis.
were.
from Sequest DSV.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a type.
From
I-
what? Of where?
Sequest.
Sequest
Sequest?
PSV is like
CSV.
Star Trek in a
Deep sea
submarine.
vehicle. Yep.
Yeah, it was
I
like
had a
Star Trek
type.
in a submarine.
I had a type. I needed a teenage boy who was on a sci-fi show.
Did
It
you
starred
ever?
Roy Schneider from
Yeah.
Jaws, the Jaws
I
guy.
don't even know what you're talking about.
I tried to get into it. You look it up. It's interesting.
The third season goes off the rails. Anyway,
Yeah.
But Aaron, did you ever reach a point where did you ever turn on Will Wheaton? Did you ever like reach an age
No.
where you're like, oh, maybe that's not cool anymore to like him?
Oh, no. I was in it. I thought he was underused on the show. I was like, we need more Wesley. I was
Oh, you were smitten.
I was
Nice.
smitten.
Wow.
To this day, I think Will Wheaton is a cutie pie. I mean, I'm happily married. It's all good.
so is
You
he.
like-
But
Will
okay.
he
Wheaton
could be on your
get it.
list. What's
He's on my
Exactly.
list.
Is he
He's
your
on the
celebrity?
list.
on your
Do you
hall
have-
pass?
Yeah, do you have a celebrity
Hall
hall
pass?
pass? Is it?
Listen, we each have a list of 5, but we don't say them out loud so that we can just say like, oh yeah, that person's on my list.
That's hilarious. No, you got to say them. You got to just have them.
You got to
'Cause, I
just
mean,
have them.
Yeah,
Do you
because I know the plus
oddly,
ones.
one of the people on my list was Eddie Izzard. And
Susan,
Susan, don't they go
Susie?
by both?
they do.
Okay.
But I watched
Mhm.
a thing where like when someone actually calls me Susie, it hits
Oh,
me in
yeah,
my
Susie.
heart. I was like,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well, so I met Susie years ago at the Lifetimes 3 opening night party. So this is going back, and they were on A Day in the Death of Joe Egg. They were in final rehearsals getting ready to open. And I sauntered right on up to that table, and I just had several drinks at the open bar.
Good
and
job.
told them that I would be happy to have their baby.
Rah.
what did
And
they
how'd that go?
say?
Well, I was there with an actual certified twink, and the twink got more attention significantly than I did. And I was just like, I don't have a shot.
But
actual
you did.
card-carrying
You
twink.
shot. You shot.
I
your
shot my
Got your
shot.
shot.
and that is to be applauded.
Yeah.
They're coming to the Beacon.
I believe
or-
so. Yeah. I
Or
need
the
to check that out.
radio. Yeah, let me
Yeah.
know.
Got the inside scoop.
Yeah.
Inside
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah,
Um,
only for podcasting friends.
Exactly.
So yeah, that had nothing to do with Star Trek though. I don't think they haven't been on any They should be on Star Trek.
They absolutely should be.
That would be great.
They
Oh,
would be amazing.
maybe
That's the
as
cameo I want.
Yeah, but do you think it would? How? As
Like
as
the
an
Stacey
alien or
Abrams
as-
cameo.
No, something more.
Maybe
Like
as the
helping-
president of Earth.
They must
Like,
be fabulous.
Correct, but maybe it's tied to real life where helping Gray, yes, Gray become more themselves and sort of shepherding them into their new reality,
Love
as
that.
it were.
Mhm. That would be sexy.
That would be awesome.
Eddie, Susie, we love you. We have no pull. We are just strongly suggesting to everyone.
We're manifesting it for you.
We're manifesting a Star Trek role.
If
for you.
Eddie Susie has a thing for twinks, I mean, we do have. There is Transporter Chief Kyle on Strange New Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
Transporter Twink.
Transporter
Correct.
Twink Kyle.
Transporter Twink Kyle. There maybe there's a storyline there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Isn't there a new transporter chief in this season?
There's there's a they them trans. There's a non-binary.
Like a
that has
non-binary.
but somehow has replaced Transporter Twink.
Yeah, what happened to
What?
Kyle?
Not sure.
Did Kyle got when nope, different, sorry, crossing over in my brain. When I'm thinking of Picard with what's her face, who went down the line, lined them all up on the bridge, and then
Yeah, that was in
Picard.
Picard.
My PTSD moment. No.
Yeah.
It was like
Very
wow,
upsetting.
very upsetting.
Very upsetting.
So, sorry, my brain crossed over there. My bad.
You got to bring that up every time.
It's rough. it was rough. I see things like, like, oh yeah, that's gonna happen. I didn't see that one.
They actually surprised you with that one, with that moment in
Yeah.
Picard.
Just like when, well, it's been on long enough, when Glenn got it in The Walking Dead. Listen,
She's
if
like,
you
played that
haven't
really well.
seen,
I
if you
stopped
haven't,
watching that show intentionally because it just went so far out. I read all the graphic novels and stuff, and it went so
Oh.
far in its own direction. I was just like, I don't
Oh.
like. They're like adding. I feel like they're adding in more like rape and violence. They did the same thing with Game of Thrones. Like
Yeah,
we don't
Game of
need
Thrones did that,
more
yeah.
rape and violence against women and things like that. We just don't need more. We have enough.
and here's the thing, I did not read either of those things before I watched them, so I would not know that, but that is good to know. I'm rewatching Game of Thrones right now, which is funny why you say that. I was like,
oh,
I'm gonna rewatch it. Let's see what happens again.
Yeah, there's a lot of sex in the books, but it's more like consensual, or like at the very least not like violently forcefully rapeful, more like
Yeah.
these are weird circumstances under which these people should be sleeping with one another.
I.e.
like-
by their dead son's casket.
yeah, here they go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, Damien, you're shaking your head because I've taken us absolutely out of what we're supposed to be talking about. My bad.
This is what happens when you
So-
introduce me back into the podcast.
I
Oh,
love
No,
it.
we
Not at
were
all.
already doing this. We were already doing
That's
this.
true.
No, because now I'm just
Okay.
still thinking about the execution of Tavine. Because she had to bring that up. I'm just going to be
Oh.
stuck on that for the whole
Yes.
rest of the podcast.
You just
I'm
ruined your
sorry.
night.
Well, I think getting back to crossovers, the kind of crossover
Yes,
that
thank
we
you,
haven't
Mike. Thank you,
discussed
Mike.
yet, which hasn't happened on screen, but has happened in comics and novels, is franchise crossover, like the Doctor Who, Star Trek, TNG crossover, which it's a comic. It's actually really quite good, I think.
Mm.
But is there another franchise that you would like to see crossover? Now, Paramount would probably have them crossover with
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible, right?
No.
Because that's what they're pushing right now.
Right. Or the Pink Ladies. I guess they canceled that.
Yeah, they canceled that.
What's
Um,
the oh, that was
The Grease
that was
prequel.
the Grease
The Grease prequel. Yeah. Or the Family Stallone, which is advertised every time I put on, like, the Sylvester Stallone's family does the Kardashians, essentially.
Oh
No.
Listen, I feel like I have like a weird thing about Star Wars where everyone like
Yeah.
people who lightly know me and know that I'm into Star Trek and get confused, and
Yeah.
it's like when I used to work at the Shakespeare Festival and everyone thought I worked at a Ren fair, and I was like, it's not a Ren fair. It's not a
Oh,
Ren
not
fair.
right there.
God.
Exactly.
Right. No, I don't watch Star Wars. It's not the same. It's not the same.
Not the same.
Like my knee-jerk reaction is not that.
Yeah.
Not
A Star Trek Star Wars crossover.
It's a long time ago in a galaxy far away. It doesn't make
We'll
sense.
throw in a portal
But not
and
even-
and we're fine.
but not even that. Star Trek is about exploring and finding
Yes.
new life. Star Wars is about destruction and taking over and colonizing. Like prime
Yeah, it's
directives
literally
would not
about
allow
war.
for correct. The prime directives
Yeah.
would not allow them to be friends.
That's true. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying too. It's sad when someone like a coworker gives me a gift and they think that like, oh, I saw this and thought of you. Don't you love it? And it's
Like
a
Mandalorian
Baby
or
Yoda
something.
coffee
Yeah.
mug or a
I mean,
Darth
everybody loves
Vader
Baby Yoda,
pen.
but
I mean, I love
no.
Baby Yoda, but it's like
Droids.
they think that they're like they're the same thing. They're not the same thing.
they're not. One is science fiction.
One
and
is
one
Yeah,
is
there is
a
science.
fantasy.
Fantasy.
One is
Yeah, no, it's true.
fantasy.
It's true.
It's true.
I mean, what other?
I mean,
truly-
Doctor Who could. Doctor Who, because
Yeah.
Doctor
Doctor
Who
would be
is
fun.
comes without rules, and I know, Lenita, you're not familiar with that world, and
You're
I feel
not.
like
There's a
like
tardigrade. or a TARDIS.
The
There's a-
tardigrade.
A TARDIS.
I know the
Time and
tardigrade are the
relative
thing.
dimension in space.
And I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah. It
actually
travels
Doctor
all
Who,
of its different ways.
I'm going to return to an earlier point of mine that you ridiculed earlier in the podcast, but that Doctor Who is a show that is helpful with like a watch list where you say, where if
Yes.
you're totally fresh and you've seen none of it, there's like a few really good episodes that can stand on their own, that can give you a taste of what it's like and what it can do.
Well, what are they,
And-
Damien? Send them to me and I will watch them.
Yes, the very first with the Angels.
Yeah, that's
The-
exactly what I thought of. The first one
with
the,
Carey Mulligan. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
So-
season? I don't know any of this. I just know
I mean,
that there
I
have been
don't
like
have a
700.
We'll have to
database
find
right in
it
front
for
of me.
you.
We'll have
I'm
to
just
find it
saying,
for
like,
you.
I just know that there are like 700
God, she's
doctors,
being
and now there's a
combative,
new
just out of nowhere.
out of
Birds
nowhere.
and
Yeah,
they're like
exactly.
14.
Yeah, they're
What's
like the doctors. Like they keep changing,
They're
and it
on
doesn't
14,
matter.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a new one
It
coming
is-
up, I think.
They have like all of these in canon ways for them to break their own rules. So like
Yeah.
it's a very
Yeah.
sort of free form storytelling kind of thing. And it
What's the purpose?
Entertainment.
you know what actually no, I'm gonna say that the best Star Trek parallel is that is the Traveler.
Ooh.
Is that the Doctor is there to protect the timeline, and there are things that his help is needed in moments of crisis through some combination
Like
of
Quantum
magic,
Leap?
kind of. Yeah, except that he doesn't appear in other people's bodies. He appears as himself. And there are things
Okay.
that he has to set right in the universe for the timeline to flow correctly. So he's a time traveler. And because he's like so old and is not like connected to he's almost like Q in that he's fascinated by humanity.
Okay.
And that
He's named himself the protector of Earth, of humans
Yes.
specifically.
Yes. And that he always takes a companion with him to travel, like a human, usually often a human female, not always, who is like there to sort of act as his conscience, but like for a storytelling purpose is sort of like the
Jiminy Cricket?
point of view character, like sort of the character who the audience watches, and sort of the
Because
character
they're the ones who know nothing and are thrown into these situations where the Doctor is like, oh, we just have to, we're in Pompeii, let's go out and party. And then you have sweet Donna Noble losing her mind because they can't save anyone.
she went right for my favorite companion.
Donna Noble.
Donna Noble.
But like, I watched that episode again the other day and watching her just like, gee, I know you can't save them all, but just save one of them. Just save one of them. And he's just like, I can't. And like, I'm watching like this 30-second clip. And it's so heartbreaking.
And
It's also very romantic sci-fi. It's very
is the Doctor, like, so when they say they have a new Doctor, is that when they made the woman Doctor, was that the big thing? Or is okay so the Doctor is actually the face of
they
the Doctor Who.
regenerate. It's the same person, but when they regenerate, they take on a different form.
Yeah.
And the
so-
personality is a little different each time.
Yeah.
Each
That
one
all
has something
happened.
else. Like one of them, like David Tennant, for me, it was his rage. Like there was rage behind his
Intense.
eyes.
Yes.
And like with Matt Smith, it was this like, I don't know, there was like a love and a passion
You're the
that like he
worst.
didn't understand.
You heard me.
Yes, I heard you. You have a microphone now. We can hear what you're saying.
Sorry,
my
I
God.
showed up on the Doctor Who podcast.
The
but-
Doctor Who
No.
podcast.
No.
No.
but
She
here's
had like an under the conversation comment about Matt Smith's hollow eyes. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I know I'm a terrible person. No.
I'm
I
a
just-
Matt Smith lover myself. Also, yes.
Oh, great actor. Hello.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I
great
just
in The
I asked
Crown.
absolutely. I just asked the question because I know that when you're in the world of fantasy and sci-fi, people be like, "Have you seen this one? Have you seen this one?" And I haven't.
You
Like,
can't
I
see
haven't watched
everything.
Right. I've not watched Battlestar Galactica. I tried to watch SG. What was the
Stargate.
forehead? Stargate. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, welcome to me and my brain, Aaron. I just start saying things and then they fill it in. And like every time there's a new doctor, it's like the new doctor. I'm like, should I watch this? So I just want to, it sounds interesting. Like I understand what the pull is.
It's intimidating.
Did it start before Star Trek?
I think
Just barely.
yeah.
Yeah, they were
Doctor Who
around the
premiered
same-
in 65, I think.
Yeah.
So do
or
you
64.
think that the character of Q was influenced
Mm.
by this omnipotent time traveler doctor?
He's not
He's not
omnipotent.
omnipotent. and
Okay,
he's not
lies.
omniscient. He's just lived a really long time. He has
Right.
a TARDIS that he stole, and he has a sonic screwdriver. So he has a lot of ability and a lot of resources. The sonic screwdriver can basically do anything to things that are mechanical.
Yeah, it's a writer's,
advanced technology.
shortcut.
It's a great, it's a MacGuffin. It's a MacGuffin,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
Okay.
And they
because they'll
don't
pick it
spend a
up
lot
and
of-
just point it,
Right. And they don't spend a lot of
So it's a
time
wand.
explaining the science.
Basically.
Yes, yes.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically it's a wand.
But I think it
I'm-
won't work on wood. Like there has to be metal. There has
Mechanics.
to be mechanic.
Yeah, they've given
Okay.
limits to
think.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Um,
you
It has
can't
to be
like,
metal mechanics,
can't,
not
like,
wood
point it-
mechanics.
you can't like point it at water and turn it into a door. It's it has to like
Aguamente?
That's
it-
very
Okay.
specific.
I don't know. Rob.
Those were no words.
What-
We have Lenita, we
So-
have a close mutual friend, Kyle, if you're listening. She will act as your Sherpa if you ever want a guide
Yes.
into the yes.
That no.
She will, yes, she will walk
no.
you through it.
Yeah. That is probably the person that I should go to.
The only thing
Absolutely.
about it though is if you're it's intimidating if you're a completist because
Oh,
Oh,
don't do that to
I'm not doing
yourself.
that. Oh, but I am
Yeah.
though. So that's the
but
problem.
you have to find a jumping in place and then go back. Because you
What
don't
should be my jumping in place? Which doctor?
I say
I
Matt
do-
Smith, but
I
Oh
think you could
no,
even
then you
jump in-
skip David
jump in-
Tennant.
Yeah, don't skip David.
You
Tennant.
naming
He's my
people that I don't
favorite.
know, so it doesn't really matter. You
You
just
know
name
David
That's-
Tennant. You just
That's
don't
why
know
it's
his name.
intimidating.
You've
There's
seen
it's
him. You've
it's
seen him.
years and
You
years and
think?
years.
What about
Star Trek would be
what's-
intimidating too.
What's his
Oh, yeah.
face? What's his face before the first one with Rose? Before David Tennant?
oh yes.
Oh, the creepy one
Number
who
9.
played.
Peter.
he's-
Not
No.
He's
damn it.
creepy. What else
was
is he
on The
in?
Leftovers.
David Tennant. He was
David Tennant?
wasn't
Okay.
wasn't he an alien? I know. We're sorry.
I'm
I'm gonna try to
Mike-
I'm gonna
I'm
try
sorry,
to
I'm
pull
sorry,
us
I'm
back.
sorry.
Bring it
Mike-
home.
Mike-
Let's go. Star
Pulling
Trek.
us back, pulling us back.
Mike has
We're sorry,
lost control.
crossover.
Doesn't usually work out, but worked out this time.
But
Thanks
here's
for
the
joining
crossover
us.
that should happen: Doctor Who, Star Trek. Bang! There we go. Pulled it back.
Right.
solved
That's the
it.
crossover that should happen. Because that's actually doable. And it happened in the comics, and it's a fun comic to read.
And which
think
doctor
that-
was it?
Damien would like it. It's David Tennant. No, wait, no, that's not true. Crap. Now I need to reread it.
Christopher Eccleston
Um,
is the name that you're thinking of.
Thank you.
Christopher Eccles. Yes.
Sorry.
Tom Baker is also in the comic because part of it takes place in TNG with maybe it's Matt Smith actually, and then part of it takes place in TOS with Tom Baker. Who's the one with the long scarf?
But why
Am I getting
would
his name
they-
right?
Tom Baker, yeah.
I feel like that's silly. They didn't need
Yeah,
to go
well,
back
you
to
gotta read
the
it.
doctor from well, but the fact that they had an earlier doctor go to the earlier series doesn't make sense because you can skip and hop through time. And in fact, on
That's
Doctor
true.
Who, they have a character like his wife who we meet at different stages in their life, and
Right.
she's living it in a linear fashion, but when we meet her throughout the series, she's at much different stages.
That's true.
Now that sounds very
It's
interesting.
wibbly
Oh, are we-
wobbly, timey wimey.
Fascinating.
Wait, are we talking about River Song?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. It's the best story. And also it is the best explanation for why we can see Q die at the end of season 2 of Picard
Yes.
and
Okay.
then see him come back at the end of and still be alive and well.
Yeah, because
timey
why does it
wimey.
matter? Right.
Why does it matter? He's a time traveler.
Yeah.
You don't think of time
26
linearly.
seasons.
Well, that's the thing about Doctor Who.
You
It
can skip the first bit. You can dive.
It
into
You can-
also-
You can jump in whenever you want and then just go back and watch. You don't have. It's not in. There's. It comes in like sections. There's like
Yeah.
sections
Okay.
at a time.
like
Okay.
from the
Sorry,
60s to through the 90s is like a totally different era. Then they were dark for a while, and then the Doctor Number
Russell
9
T.
is kind of where it
Davies,
starts. Yeah, Russell T. Davies as the producer, and then Moffat.
Well,
Anyway,
HBO Max has 13 seasons, so I guess I'm adding it
There
to
you
my
go.
watch list.
those are probably all the new ones.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Season 1, episode 1,
Oh, what?
I think they renamed. I think they relabeled them.
2005.
Yeah, exactly.
Christopher
that's the
Eccleston.
new one.
That's.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna start, that's a place to start.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
very
download.
British.
Done. I've been searching for a British show that I watched in Korea when the +1 was stationed there, of this
Oh.
woman who goes and tries new crafts. She goes to a pie baking contest and learns how to make pies and enters her pies, or knitting. It's Christy somebody's something, and I can't find it anywhere. I mean it. I tried BritBox, whatever. So
Oh yeah.
don't worry. Like, I love British Bake Off, one of my favorite things on the face of the planet.
We
Sorry.
will have
Amazing.
lost her to Doctor Who as soon as she goes into this. I know.
That's what's
Yeah.
going to happen.
No, not at all.
No,
Never
no, no.
that. Mm-mm. We'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
Well, have we talked crossing over to death?
We've crossed. We have crossed over.
Have
we
we
have
crossed
crossed
over
We're
to
on
John
the other
Edwards?
side. We are on the other side.
So yes. So I think the lesson we've learned is that Aaron needs to watch Strange New Worlds,
I
Yes.
think I do. I think I do.
and
You've convinced
Lenita
me.
needs to watch Doctor Who,
Yes.
and
And I need to watch Enterprise. What does Mike Jones?
Yes.
you need to watch Enterprise. Yeah, I haven't been
Mike
given
Jones
a
needs to
homework
watch
assignment.
Star
He
Wars.
needs an assignment. Yeah.
It's funny. I'm trying to watch. Well, I haven't done this in a while, but a few months ago I was trying to watch the Star Wars like animated shows, the Clone Wars.
Oh.
Mm.
And because they say they get really good, but like I feel like I'm like
You're
you
not
know,
to that point yet.
I'm not to that point yet. So we'll see.
Stick it out. I mean, you got to lose.
You never know. What do I have to lose? Learn about the Empire
See, Damien,
and
what
the
do you have to
rebels.
lose? Watch Enterprise.
That's
Fair trade. Fair trade.
the tagline. Hailing frequencies open. What do you have to lose? All right, dear listeners, thank you so much for coming with us on this journey, which was all over the place today. And hopefully you held on. Give us a review wherever you get your podcast, 5 stars. We love it. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Hailing Freak Open or at hailingfrequenciesopen.com. And I want to thank our panelists and hosts today for our lively conversation. Until next time, Hailing Frequencies closed.